Hello and welcome to my final project. This is where we're going to be going over my game, and I'm actually pretty stoked about it. It took a lot of hours, and uh, I've had so much going on personally, so pretty proud of what I came up with in last week since start. I'm having a lot of issues with GitHub also right now. Not sure why, but we're gonna go because of that. We are gonna go over everything that I've done in blueprints wise in a pretty short amount of time. So and let's get started into this now. Okay, so here we are. We're gonna have to make our way into the wood, make our way to the woods here. This box and any box, uh, well not any box, but I'll point out every box that we have here. This is the objective system, and that's gonna be going into and feeding the text right here, and then change objectives. And let me find my player HUD, and I can show you. So here's the text box for that. And we'll go into the graph for that. And here, this text box is bound to the clock. And then we have a shield and health here, which I'm really happy about because it's like a Destiny kind of where the player's shield will take the damage first. And then after the damage is done, it'll start, after the shield is gone, uh, it will have a health, it'll start taking your health away. The shield also regenerates over time, giving the player time to uh, regen his shield and get back into the fight. And then we're gonna go into the code on that. Objective system is right here. This is where it's feeding into the main character, and those boxes are actually changing the main character's objectives text in there, and we have it feeding all the way up into the HUD. The timer here, it's feeding into the game mode, and that's coming in with the minutes and seconds, changing it to the integers where the seconds will show two integers, zero and whatever else coming after that, and it'll keep it while we're going down into the into 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and it'll have a zero in front of that to make it actually look like a nice little clock. And we're formatting it into this text right here and feeding it back to the HUD. And then here's the shield where it's just feeding in what the player has left, and that goes the same for the health bar. It's the same. And we're going to not do nothing but compile it anyway. And a nice little feature I found out is when you do the compile, you can go to save on compile, and you can click on whether you want to have success only or if you always want it to have a compile, even if your code doesn't work the first time. Uh, and here I have a health pickup system. I'll demonstrate that as I run through the game. But this is where it's grabbing the health from the player and feeding it the health pickup amount I have set as a variable right here, which this one's giving 25 as a blueprint. And then it'll destroy the actor and spawn an emitter right at the location saying that, hey, you picked it up. Here's the objective system. Those little boxes that will trigger into the main character. So this is the middleman between the HUD and the player itself, or that's the very beginning when it changes. And we have our text change here as a variable, so that way you can just use the same one over and over if you wanted, or if you wanted to, like I did, is just duplicate the one and change it while you're on the fly, passing through the level, so that way you can get the you don't have to waste time on trying to go into the blueprint and changing it. And then and one more thing. Here we go. One more little trap on the way that we have here is a water volume that's polluted. Here, I have it playing a sound when you come up to the water. It's attenuated also, or has an attenuation, which I found pretty cool. But still learning it. And then the damage here is coming off the main player. I have it set on the main player as the damage. So you can pick between like 5, 10, 15, 20, 25% of damage. And right here we have it going into a delay at 0.5 seconds, which it'll drain your shield pretty fast. What else do I have here? Show. exploding tank I created, and I'll show you where that is. And here we are coming in. It's got a health system of like 20, and once it goes down, well, the health is actually set at 50. So the first time you hit it, it'll play this emitter right here. Currently I have it deactivated right now. I was still messing around with it, but here we are, and we go into the health. Once it hits 0, it'll play this uh, flame exploding uh, particle effect that was going on, and it gets to actor's location based on and will provide radial damage, and then it destroys the actor. Ooh, here's another one I'm really happy with. Ooh, gotta watch out for these little tricky things. Um, so it's set on as you step on the plate or step on that little canister that's right here. Is set into the floors, and when you step on it, what it'll do is gonna play or it's gonna detect whether the player's in the volume, and if he is, then it's gonna play. Also, it's gonna set the trigger to spawn the location here, or spawn an emitter. This one's called the AOE blast fire explosion from the Infinity Blades special effects, and it's gonna do 10 or 15% damage right here. I took it down. I took it up from 10 because I didn't like. It didn't really do much, too much damage. I really wanted the player to suffer in this part and actually use an obstacle to jump. And if he's still in volume right here, it'll go all the way back down up into this delay, and then back into the emitter and starting the damage cycle all over again. What else I got? Here we go. And then as we move down that, we have this bunker lift that I designed. So the player can get up and down off the off of one of the rooms. We have a play rate set here, so that way we can change the timeline if we wanted. Speed it up, slow it down. And here is being divided by 1 on a tick, or on a, not on a tick, on a float, traveling at 1 second. And we're dividing it by 1. Here we go, whether a player interacts with it, it'll determine whether the lift is up or down into this branch, and then every time it runs, it'll either set it or not set it. So that way you can go in reverse when it's the platform is down on the ground, it'll stay there on the ground, and it'll play from the reverse going up. And if it's up, it'll go down. It's pretty much simple as that. We have it on a end location that I have, and you can decide how or where you want it to go. And I'm going to be adding another part later, not for this, but for my own project now, since I really starting to like this part, or like this one. I think I have a lot to add to it. And I'll set the relative location. Here is the overlap that I have, telling the player what button to use, and it'll enable and disable based on if you're in it or off it, and it'll disappear. What else I got here? My masterpiece, the one that I love the most right here, double doors. That was a pain in the butt, and I finally found a new way to do it.